News with Gina.
The news with Gina Grad.
So we do have a little bit more information on the Naya Rivera story, and I know we did some hypothesizing, maybe just what happened, why it happened. So we know that the 33-year-old former Glee star went missing 5 days ago while boating with her 4-year-old son at Lake Piru in California. The boy was found unharmed in a rented boat. Naya disappeared. And the Ventura County Sheriff Bill Ayub summarized Naya's final moments that featured saving the life of her 4-year-old son, Josie. I'll give you a little information after, but here's a clip from the sheriff.
We know from speaking with her son that he and Naya swam in the lake together at some point during their journey. It was during that time that her son described being helped into the boat by Naya, who boosted him onto the deck from behind. He told investigators that he looked back and saw her disappear under the surface of the water. Naya's son was later found asleep on the boat, which was adrift in the northern portion of the lake known as the Narrows.
So the idea perhaps is that the boat started drifting. It was not anchored. They were, playing around in the water. And at that point, she mustered all the energy to just sort of hoist him onto the boat, swim after the boat perhaps, and get him onto it, and just didn't have the energy left after that is
wow.
What I think they're hinting at.
I feel bad. I was thinking she may have committed suicide. Now, instead, she was saving her kid.
Yeah, it seems like they were just kind of jerking around in the water and being silly, and the boat wasn't anchored.
Well, I'm not, Mr. Safety First guy, but I guess you got to put that life preserver on if you're going to go out in the lake that way, because especially with your kid. And I don't know if the kid was wearing a life preserver or not, but for you too, because that thing will get away from you.
Her life preserver was on the boat, and as I mentioned the other day, I mean they were using sonar, dogs, drones, and the reason why this was so difficult is because not only are lakes murky, and we talked about the bogs, but this particular lake, it's like they said during a drought, it has a lot of growth and a lot of trees and giant plants, and then the water rises again, and underneath that water is like its own forest. It's just, you can get tangled in anything. There's capsized trees, there's brush. It's like if you drained it, it would be a forest you couldn't walk through.
I was watching TMZ last night, trying to get caught up, and Orlando Bloom was out on his little motorized sort of he had like a little hydrofoil surfboard thing. And I'm curious about this, Max Zapata. It's a kind of Laird Hamilton kind of thing, but it's a miniature surfboard that's got a propeller on it and a hydrofoil, and you get up above the water. And
I've seen this.
I saw it too. I was at Malibu a few weeks ago. I was like looking across the street, and there's guys just kind of buzzing around on it. And I thought, I want to try one of those things. And the second thing I thought was, that thing has to have a hell of a battery. And then the third thing I thought of was, how long can that go? Because the amount of energy it would take to get that propeller spinning, to get the speed up, to get that thing where the whole
water pumping.
Yeah, the whole body, and I think it has a propeller, but maybe it has a pump. But whatever the battery is, that's a huge draw. And then the next question is, Max Pat, is the guy operating it via remote he's holding in his hand, which I guess he is, and is the battery pack on him or outside of the water somehow as well? And then what's retail, and Christmas is coming up. Write all those things down, because I thought I'm going to get on one of those things and buzz around with Orlando Bloom.
The one or two that I've seen definitely have water pumping below. You know what I mean? Like spraying water out. It's almost to hoverboard.
Yeah, but it's not a propeller, is what you're saying.
Not as far as I can tell, but then again, I've only seen a couple of them, 100 feet away.
But it could be a propeller, right? Pushing the water?
Something's pushing it forward.
I think it makes sense that a propeller would be more economical in terms of battery burning instead of like a water jet, like on a ski boat or something like that.
But is it powerful enough to propel a 200-pound person, let's say, on top of just a board?
I think you got a better shot with a prop than you do with a jet but I have no idea. So they got to be several $1,000s, and they'll either have the propeller or they'll have the jet. But then the question is you must not be able to stay up for more than 6 minutes at a time or something like that. Like that battery's just got to go unless they make a plug-in version. But
how'd that work?
What is it, Max Zapata?
Kayla will put up a picture or video of it, but I think what you're talking about is a 2020 Slingshot Hover Glide. That's what they're calling it. Mm-hmm. And it looks like it has a propeller. It goes for about $1,800 on the website.
$1,800 seems on the low end. And the batteries last how long?
The ones that you've seen, the ones I've seen look as though they're being pushed off the water a good 6 or 8 inches. Are those the ones that you're seeing?
8 or 10 inches. They're like a mini surfboard. They have the wing at the bottom, and once you get up off the water, then you're hydroplaning, and then there's not a lot of drag. And then the kind of question is, and I think you're probably looking at a bargainy basement-y one. There's probably ones that are $8,000 or something.
Yeah, well, look, if you type Orlando Bloom and anything with a surfboard, there's a picture of him with Katy Perry and a surfboard in 2018, and that just it's flooding out.
Well, forget that. But the hydro board or whatever it is. But then, like, how long does it say you can go out and do it? Because you really feel like you're working the shit out of those batteries.
Yeah.
But anyway, interesting. Sorry.
You guys have seen the not the hoverboards like you're talking about, but like the jet packs that they get really high in the air with the water just rushing down. Mm-hmm. So I hadn't even seen the hoverboard until now. Chuck Woolery, not a name you'd think would be in the news anymore, yet here we are. President Trump retweeted a post by game show host Chuck Woolery, of course, Love Connection, that basically...
Former game show host.
Yep. Basically claimed everyone's lying about the coronavirus pandemic in a possible effort to thwart Trump's reelection by harming the economy, according to CNBC. Woolery wrote in a Twitter post on Sunday evening, this is the post. The most outrageous lies are the ones about COVID-19. Everyone is lying. The CDC, media, Democrats, our doctors, not all but most, that we are told to trust. I think it's all about the election and keeping the economy from coming back, which is about the election. I'm sick of it. He didn't cite any details or which lies he was talking about, but the president did repost it. And there has been a little bit of backlash from four former directors of the CDC.
You mean 2 and 2?
2 and 2,
right.
That's 4.
Right back at you. They fired off a little bit of a verbal shot to Trump. They've co-authored a scathing op-ed in the Washington Post. They don't call Trump out by name, but here's part of it. They say, public health experts face 2 opponents, COVID-19, but also political leaders and others attempting to undermine the CDC. Unfortunately, their sound science is being challenged with partisan potshots, sowing confusion and mistrust at a time when the American people need leadership, expertise, and clarity. And all 4 served under Clinton, Bush, and Obama. So I don't think that's a partisan issue.
I think Chuck is a pretty wild right-wing guy and has been for a long time because he's had
I think it's in his Twitter bio that he's a Hollywood conservative.
He's had a few tweets. He's had some pretty crazy tweets out there. Speaking of crazy right-wing tweeters, Max Zapata he does have a little correspondence going with James Woods.
What?
A little back and a little forth. So we're working on it.
Yeah.
It's not a guarantee, but there's a little rapport.
He is enthusiastic about coming on.
He's enthusiastic.
It will happen.
It will?
But based off, I mean, we don't have a set date, but based off of his language to me, he's really into coming on the show.
Oh, is there something new? Because I remember there's a little back and forth, like some good and some bad.
No, there's nothing new, but it's what I've told you. He's a big fan of you, Adam. And he would love to do it. We're
going to talk the specialist. Almost the whole time.
Working as a casino, man.
A little bit casino, yeah. Does he know about Sonny?
I didn't catch that one, but I saw the specialist 185 times.
You're in that place. You're in that.
Is he aware of Sonny and how he the imitation of the highest form of flattery?
I don't know. That specialist, I mean, it's funny because in that scene where he's in the Miami bomb squad precinct and he's giving everyone a speech on, how the explosives work and how they're all rank amateurs and everything, it's a really corny scene that is way over the top, but you can still see his crazy acting chops in it.
Oh, yeah.
Even though
he's sticking his teeth into it.
It's a good scene.
It's a crazy.
We watched it.
It's a crazy fun scene. Well, if we find it, we'll watch it again. But Ziffy board, what is that one again? It's got a propeller. How long is the batteries on one of those, Max? Does it say like battery life? You must have a handheld remote, right? You must have something like that.
I found the picture of Orlando Bloom. He is holding a remote.
But is it a TV remote?
It's either that or his keychain. I don't know.
So he's got a remote. It makes sense. You have to have a remote because you could be just kind of cruising along and kind of up, and then it's some. So here's knowing what I know about technology. You charge the battery, and you could probably buzz along just like you're on a surfboard, but on the ground, maybe on the water surface for a half hour. But if you want to go full hydroplane, you have 6 minutes or something like that. So you'd hit it high, then you'd try to pop it up, and then you'd buzz around while the batteries were going down pretty quick. We shall see. All right, let's just listen. Just in the fantasy of me going over this scene frame by frame with James Woods when he comes on the show, who doesn't do. He does not do publicity now or anything like that. But let's just listen. I love this goddamn scene. You guys got to watch the specialist.
Hey, Sport, where's the bomb squad? Hey, come on, boys and girls. Come on. What are we doing here? Let's look alive, huh? What do you got?
We're looking into everyone at the party, doing a complete background check, okay? Give me the next one, all right?
I like when computers used to make noise. Enhance.
Enhance.
Tell you what, I'll handle the biographies. You go back to Trace and C4. Okay, Ace?
He's a dick.
Chief says you're on this?
But he's the
Fine.
best.
But I don't take orders from any anything. All right, Ace?
And I got to tell you something. I'm sorry, but I thought your chief said that the fullest cooperation would be forthcoming. And I got to tell you something, Sport. This doesn't feel like full cooperation to me. I mean, look at this shit here. What is this? This is, shouldn't this be in the lockup? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys are the experts. Maybe you don't need me. I mean, like, what is this? This is,
Smell it.
This is Semtex. Am I right? Plastic explosive. Am I right? I don't know. You're the expert. I mean, this little bit could blow up this whole area, and if this area goes, the whole building could go up. Am I right? Gosh, I don't know. I mean, maybe if I put this in here. What else do we have here? Oh, this is a plunger detonator. Am I right? And that's a little mini receiver. You know, this looks like American circuitry to me. And I got to tell you, call me a patriot, but American craftsmanship, it's the greatest in the world. See? Watch this. Here we go.
The greatest living actor.
Yep. Perfect fit. First time, every time. Screw it on, and one little twist, and voila. A perfect receiver bomb. Which, of course, is absolutely worthless without a transmitter.
Oh, yeah.
But hey.
He knows his way around that office. He's never
20
been
seconds,
in.
and we're hot. Okay? Okay. Now you deactivate it, you sanctimonious prick.
Okay, you cut that shit, Trent!
Oh, yeah? Huh? Come on.
Okay, you made your point, all right?
Have I? Huh?
Okay, that's enough!
What do you mean it's enough? You think I give a shit if this whole fucking block goes up? I don't. You mean you've had enough? Isn't that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Enough is enough!
Huh?
I can't do it.
12.
What the hell hell are you? You crazy or something?
7 seconds of
Craziest
a life.
person you'll ever meet in your life. 6, 5, 4, 3.
Please!
Now here's a tip. You take care of the shit work. You leave the folks at the party to me. Okay? We on the same page here? Ace.
He's the world's greatest actor. Just from
good.
that scene alone. He must have been nominated just from that.
Sure.
Just on the strength of that one scene.
I think he is an Oscar-nominated actor. I have to look that for El Salvador. I gotta look it up.
No, I'm pretty sure it's for Straight Talk with Dolly Parton.
Oh.
Would you better ask him about?
And I think El Salvador was just called Salvador.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was Oliver Stone.
Nominated for 2 Oscars, according
Wow.
to IMDb.
It was a good movie.
Yep, Salvador and Ghost in Mississippi.
He's good. You know, when there's a movie where like Jim Belushi is good in it, and that was Salvador, and where Tom Arnold is good, like in oh God.
True Lies.
True Lies. Like when you go,
He was great in True Lies.
Right, that's the point, is when they take guys that aren't really that good and they're good in the movie, that means it's a good movie. All right, Gina, what else we got? Sorry.
Will you please ask about Straight Talk?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. All right. Then I'll do another story. So the Public Transportation Commission in Berlin has come up with an idea, a way to get people to wear masks on city trains and buses, according to Jalopnik. They're requiring masks, but banning deodorant. So they hope that their No Deodorant on Trains initiative will make people want to put their masks on because people be smelling so
Smart.
fresh. Yep. Their infection rates as a whole been pretty low during this pandemic, but Berlin is showing itself to be a new hot spot. So they're just coming up with creative ways to get those masks on people.
This is it's a goof, though, right? Like you
Well,
can't
yeah, but
ban.
if you do that, but if you do that advertising campaign, it gets eyeballs.
Mm-hmm. No, I
Meanwhile,
agree.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
Let's stay in Germany. Everybody wants to get back to work. Everybody. That includes the sex workers in Hamburg. About 400 prostitutes held a protest on Saturday calling on the government to reopen brothels, which are legal in Germany. The Association of Sex Workers organized the protest, saying the continued closure of licensed brothels was forcing some prostitutes onto the street, which is illegal.
It's got to be a tough needle to thread, like if you're a politician and you're like, we've got to reopen these brothels. Oh, what about the schools? That can
look
wait.
out there.
That can wait.
Bigger fish to fry.
But what about churches? Please, let's keep our eye on the prize, people. We're talking brothels now. We got to, you have to want to reopen brothels, but you have to be kind of casual about it. You can't.
Well, like you said, you can't be the guy with your first hand in the first guy with your hand in the air.
Right. Who wants to reopen the brothel? Whoop, here we go.
Well, and that's the point, because they've allowed shops and restaurants and bars to reopen, and the ladies are like, what about us?
You know what's weird about the brothels in terms of societies go? The most advanced societies have brothels, and then the least advanced societies have brothels, but the kind of in-betweeners don't have the brothels.
Rich man, poor man.
Yeah,
Rich
it's
country,
kind of
poor country.
It's like I feel like the in-betweeners are sort of like United States and Canada, and I don't feel like there's a lot of brothels. I mean, we have little versions of it, and then there's there's the Philippines and Germany. They have brothels. You know what I mean? It's the in-between struggles with the brothel.
Yeah.
That's right.
The for some civilizations, hey, it's a no-brainer. People want to fuck, they got money, leave them alone. And then others are so evolved, it's well, this is what we're evolved to. It's kind of the middle. The middle countries don't really, they're not really down with the brothels, right?
No, we leave it to the Netherlands mostly.
We'll get there. All right, Gina Grad, let's do one more.
You got it. So let's do a little auction talk.
Hold on.
Yes.
We have more on Orlando Bloom and his electric
good.
surfboard.
Okay, so it is not electric. What
isn't?
these are called are hydrofoil boards.
That's like a Laird Hamilton thing.
That's exactly right. Yeah, Laird pioneered it, and it has you have like a wing with fins that goes underneath the water, and it lifts you above the water. About like a foot, so it's actually just a different feeling than surfing because there's no friction or floating.
So when you
feeling in the
catch a
water.
wave or when you get the current going right,
yeah, it takes the under part of the swell too. So it's
So he doesn't have a remote in that particular case.
right. It looks like he has one in his hand, but all the ones I'm seeing, or at least most of them,
Sunglasses,
are
maybe.
Those are sunglasses.
not
yeah.
electric.
Yeah. Interesting. And the electric ones will kind of achieve the same thing if the water's calm or you're in a lake or there's something.
Yeah, some of the electric ones I'm seeing more used in a lake or wakeboarding or something like that.
And does it tell you how long you can buzz around before you got to recharge things?
With the electric ones, I'm seeing 45 minutes is a really good one.
Good long run.
Yeah.
Interesting. Huh. All right.
But, yeah, the one Orlando was riding is not electric.
Katy Perry is super pregnant, yo.
That was the story they were covering.
Yeah, I know. I was watching TMZ last night. All right, sorry. Where were we, Gina Grad?
This isn't a Katy Perry story, but it is an auction story. Something that Brian may have a little more knowledge of than you. A sealed copy of the Super Mario Brothers game from 1985. It's for the original Nintendo system. It made it the most expensive video game ever sold. And I'm wondering if anyone would like to wager a guess.
May I see the game? Is there a picture of the game?
No, just guess.
Let me tell you let me tell you something that's sad. It's kind of 40-year-old virgin sad, but like I was looking on Bring a Trailer, like to look at car stuff in the mornings, see what's out there. And there's a BMW, I don't know, it was probably an 88 or an 89 BMW M3. It's an old car I used to have. It's a $50,000 car, and this one's like over $100,000. Like, hey, what gives? It's like it has 8,000 original miles on it, and then there's like, this is a baseball card that's never been opened or touched by human hands, or this is an action figure that's never been out of the package, or this is a Star Wars figurine that's never been out of the package. It's a car that's never been driven. It's a video game that's never been played. It's an action figure that's been in a package its entire life. We're sending a dangerous message to young people, which is get the sports car, get the action figure, get the baseball card, get the video game. Don't touch it.
Don't use it.
Don't you use it. You want it to be worth something when you're dead, don't you?
I've always felt that way about jewelry because I'm not a huge jewelry person, but anyone who's like, oh, my good stuff's in the safe. I'm like, yeah, in the safe. And then you'll pass the key, that safe key to somebody else, and the jewelry will just sit in a drawer for the rest of all eternity.
Where are you guys with this? Because I have some thoughts on it because a version of it pertains to me, not as it pertains to jewelry. But where are you in the I own this very expensive jeweled necklace it's worth $10 million. I don't want to go out to the opera house in it. It could be snatched in the parking structure. I had a replica made of it that's exactly the same. I'm going to wear the replica. Now, I'll give you a clue. My way of thinking is like if you have the actual version of it in your vault at home, and you've made a recreation of it, I somehow look at wearing that as different than if you didn't own the actual version of it. Thoughts?
Yeah, same thing with purses.
Yeah, Christy got a fake wedding ring when we went to Italy, I guess, 11 years ago. She didn't want to walk around. We would do so much walking to gypsies and whatever. She didn't want to have the hassle.
Brian, please.
Losing it, stealing it, whatever.
Was it a recreation of the original?
No, it was off the rack from Macy's, $18 or something like that.
I'll give you...
It was close enough, but it wasn't. No, it was not designed to be a replica.
I have the real first Apple-sponsored Porsche 935. As you guys know, if you can find a picture of that CarMax bed, I love that picture. And I love it, but it's not painted like Apple, and it's not done like Apple, and it doesn't have anything like Apple. It's painted like Hawaiian Tropic. because the car changed liveries over the years, and I have it in the original livery, which is the Hawaiian Tropic livery that Paul Newman raced it at Le Mans. So he raced it in 79, and then in 80, it turned into an Apple car. And a lot of the Apple nerds are like, you should put it in the Apple paint, which is what you guys are looking at now. Now, my red Porsche that's at the other shop, that's the car. Obviously,
I would imagine cars, you correct me if I'm wrong, I would imagine cars don't suffer the same fate that Star Wars toys do, where you can't use them. Like, they're meant to be driven, right?
No, but this is, I'm pardon the pun, I'm shifting gears here, which is I am building a tribute clone car of the Apple liveried car, which I would normally look at as kind of like, why do you want to do that? But I own the actual car, and I'm building a tribute to it based on owning the actual car, which for some reason I've rationalized it now makes sense. Now I can do that because I have the actual car. It looks
that's F me money.
It looks good in the Apple. Boy, show the Apple one more time. It's such a
and it's more inclusive looking.
That's right. It's more inclusive looking in the Apple livery. All right.
Well, it's funny that I have to answer that question of the copy of the jewelry. That is so funny to me because my entire life, and I'm not doing it. I wear my grandmother's wedding ring, but my entire life, my mom, who knows me so well, I lose everything. I'm flighty, and especially as a kid, I was just a fucking mess. She'd always go, well, when you get engaged, we're going to go right out and make a copy of that ring, and that's what you're going to wear because you're going to lose it. And I have that ingrained in my head for decades. And I think about it with this one, too. I worry this is still an heirloom. So I always hear my mom going, you better make a copy and wear that. You're going to lose it.
Well, it seems very bizarre and human. On the other hand, it's also crazily pragmatic, I guess. Yeah. And yeah, I would. I'd make a copy of that one and put the other one in a safe deposit box or something. And then there's also that part where you hand it down to your girl or whatever, what have you. Anyways, look, we're gonna die.
Would you
soon.
Venture to guess? Thank you. Would you venture to guess as we wrap it up what this A+ condition sealed 1985 Super Mario Brothers game sold for at auction?
I have no idea, but because we're talking about it, it has to be something nuts. So I'm going to say $86,000.
I'll go a little lower, $55K.
$114,000.
Oh,
what the hell?
Nerds, man.
I'm telling you, the nerds have money and they're willing to spend. The one theme that we have with all these auction things is, racing helmets and things like that are all cool. But the nerd items, the gamer items, Star Wars items, those always go big. All right, let's bring it home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina Grad. That was the news with Gina Grad.